Hi everyone, welcome to the History of Football channel. Today I'll be ranking and rating the 2023-24 Championship home shirts of every club in the league. There's quite a bit to get through. There's another Championship season upon us. Let me know in the comment section below which Championship kits you like the most and which ones you think are the worst. But let's start off with the first club, and I will be starting in alphabetical order, so we'll be starting with Birmingham City. So with Birmingham City's kits, for this year, I don't really know what they're trying to do with this one. They're going for like a two-tone blue look. And the sponsor on the front, it kind of looks like two pairs of cricket stumps that have been stacked next to each other and someone's knocked the bails off. Besides that, I don't really like this kit at all. I think it's a shocker. So this one is well down the list for me. I think Birmingham City can do way better with their home shirt. With Blackburn Rovers shirt this year, it's a standard Blackburn Rovers kit that everyone probably already knows. They always generally wear the same design. But what they've done this year that I don't like is the bit with the collar up the top there. It's a different colour to the rest of the kit, and it kind of looks a bit strange. Also, I don't really like the sponsor in the front. It doesn't really fit in well with the shirt. Now, funnily enough, the rugby league team I support, St Helens, they're sponsored by Totally Wicked, but they sponsor the stadium and they're also on the sleeve. They're not on the front of the shirt. I think this kit would have been fine if they just would have fixed that collar up. That's the only thing that I really see that's wrong with it alongside the sponsor. But I think, look, I'll give this Blackburn shirt probably about a 6 out of 10. If I were a Blackburn supporter, I probably wouldn't buy it. I'd probably just stay with the old shirts that they've got. But hopefully next year they can release a better home shirt. This is Bristol City's home shirt for 2023. I really like this one. I think this one is the best one I've seen so far. I like the pinstripes. I like the collar. I think it's a slick looking kit. And I think that the sponsor itself fits in well with the rest of the shirt. So for Birmingham City's kit, I'd probably have to give it about a 9 out of 10. I think this is probably the best one that I've seen so far. This is Cardiff City's shirt that they'll be wearing this year. Like Birmingham City, they're going for this two-tone blue look. I think they do a better job than what Birmingham City did. On the front, they've still got that subliminal sponsor, Visit Malaysia, in big capitals there. I think it's an okay kit. Not the best, but certainly not the worst. I'd probably give it about a 6.5 out of 10 for the Cardiff one this year. With Coventry City, it's a return to the stripes. I think that this kit is way better than the one that they had last year. I really like the stripes when Coventry City do it. They've got a new sponsor on the front, King of Shaves. That's probably the only downer to this kit. The rest of it's fine. Also, they've got these weird chevrons that go along the top that you can't see on this particular angle. But overall, really like Coventry City's shirt for this year. I'm going to have to give it about a 9 out of 10. I really enjoy it. This is Huddersfield shirt this year. It's pretty much just a standard Huddersfield shirt to me. Blue and white vertical stripes, pretty much what they've worn for decades. The only thing that kind of doesn't really fit in with the shirt is just the sponsor and the way that it's coloured in the gold colour. That's probably the only downer. With a lot of these shirts, the sponsor seems to ruin lots of shirts. For this Huddersfield one though, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a decent home shirt for 2023-2024. And this is Hull City's shirt. With Hull City in the past, they've had some weird designs. They've had some designs that I'm not particularly fond of. But this one this year, this is just a classic amber or gold, whatever you want to call it, orange and black stripes. I think this one is a classic looking kit. They've gone back to just a simple design tradition. For this Hull City shirt, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really nice looking shirt that they're going to be wearing this year. And with the promoted lads, Ipswich Town, coming back up to the Championship for the first time in a couple of years, this is their shirt that they'll be wearing. With this one, not particularly a fan of the sleeves and the shoulder there. I don't really like that. The collar, I'm a big fan of collars. I don't mind those at all. Sponsor, it kind of looks like a bit of a mathematics equation. And the colour itself, I don't really have a problem with the colour. But as I just mentioned, not really a big fan of the sleeves. Bit of a turn off for me, but overall, I think it's okay. So I'll give it probably a 6.5 out of 10 at the most. Not the worst kit on the list, but certainly not the best either. This is Leeds United shirt that they'll be wearing this year. With this one, it's just a traditional, classic, slick-looking kit. I like what they've done on the shoulders there. The sponsor fits well on the shirt. I mean, with Leeds United, they pretty much wear a very similar shirt every year. They rarely go away from tradition. But I really like it, so I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. I think Leeds did a really good job with their home shirt. And another team that were relegated from the Premier League last year, Leicester City. With Leicester's kits over the last few years, they've rarely changed them either. I think this one's pretty much identical to the one that they wore last year, to be fair. It looks exactly the same. Same sponsor, same design. I like the little fox thingies that they've done in there as well. With this one, I'll have to give it an 8 out of 10. I think that Leicester City's done a good job, even though it looks like they haven't changed too much on their kit this year. This is Middlesbrough, or the Borough's home kit this year. The big difference is, instead of just having a white horizontal bar that goes across the chest, they've tried to do 2 lines either side of the sponsor. It looks a bit weird when I first saw it, but it's kind of grown on me. They've also done a little thing around the sleeves there, added a bit of blue. I think it's a decent kit. I know a lot of Middlesbrough fans personally that love it, and they've already gone out and bought it. To me, it's kind of got a bit of a 1990s look about it because they've added a bit of blue. It reminds me of what they kind of did back then. For this Middlesbrough home shirt, I'll have to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's solid. The only thing is probably the weird white lines, but besides that, it's fine. And now we've got Millwall. With Millwall's kit this year, they've decided to go for this weird kind of, it looks like, I don't know, like rain or something going down the bottom of the kit there. They've still got that hideous sponsor, Husky Chocolate. I mean, if I were a Millwall supporter, I wouldn't want to be wearing a shirt walking around the street with a big Husky Chocolate on the front of it. I'd never been a fan of that sponsor. I personally prefer their kit from last year. I thought the one from last year were better. This year they're going for this weird thing going down the bottom of the kit, which I'm not really a fan of. For this one, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's not horrid, but it's not the best either, so I give it about a 6 out of 10. This is Norwich City's shirt for this year. Instead of going for vertical pinstripes like they did last year, this year they're going for horizontal, more thicker stripes. From what I've heard from lots of Norwich City supporters online, they hate the kit. They said last year that they finally did a really good shirt, and then they've butchered it this year with this one. I don't think it's the worst kit in the world. I mean, the sponsor kind of fits all right on it. The colouring's fine. I will agree with the Norwich City supporters that last year's was better, because it was, but this one's not awful by any stretch, so I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. It's decent, but it's a downgrade certainly from last year. This is Plymouth Argyle shirt, the newly promoted side. This year they've totally ditched the green and white and just gone for green, and it's a really nice looking green. Sponsor looks great on it. They've got the gold around the sleeves, the gold around the collar. Even the logo itself has got gold on it. So it's a completely green kit. They're even wearing the same shorts with the same colour and the socks and everything. I think this is a smashing kit. I think that Plymouth Argyle have hit this one out of the park. Like, I think it's a fantastic shirt. If I were a Plymouth Argyle supporter, I'd already own all the stuff that they've released this year. So I'll give this one a 10 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic looking shirt. I think Plymouth Argyle have done a great job. And here is Preston North End shirt. With Preston North End, they pretty much wear the same shirt design every year. They rarely change. And that's what I kind of like about their club. It's all about simplicity and tradition and all that. And I think this is a nice looking shirt. I mean, the sponsor fits well on it. I like the collar, the sleeves, the socks, the shorts. I think it's a nice looking kit overall. So I'll give this one an 8.5, 9 out of 10. I think it's a good kit by Preston. This is Queen's Park Rangers shirt. I believe that they're celebrating 40 years, and this is a nod back to that time when, in that particular season, I believe they come 5th in the top division and they qualified for the UEFA Cup. I really like how they've done the throwback kit like this. I think that the red goes well on the shirt. The sponsor looks good on it. I like how they've made the logo red to fit in with the rest of it, and it's a proper retro looking kit. I think QPR have done a really good job with this one. I'd probably have to give it about an 8.5, 9 out of 10. I really like the Queen's Park Rangers shirt this year, and from what I've seen online, the fans really like it as well. This is Rotherham shirt for this year. They're another club that barely changes up their design. I've always known them to just have a red shirt with sort of white sleeves. There's not really too much to say about this kit. I think it's a decent looking one, and I mean the sponsor fits well on it as well. So I'd probably have to give it maybe a 7.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10. It's a decent looking shirt, but Rotherham's a club that rarely change up what they wear. And this is Sheffield Wednesday's kit that they'll be wearing in their first season back in Championship. They've got a new sponsor in the front, A Up, which is something I see on some of the videos. And they've decided to go for like a bit of gold around the sleeves, the collar, and some weird pinstripe that goes down there. Besides that, I mean, it's not a horrible kit. It's not as good as the one they had last year. I think the one they had last year were way better. But this one's decent. I don't mind this kit for Sheffield Wednesday this year. If I was a Sheffield Wednesday supporter, I'd buy one. The fan base is divided about what they think of it, but I think it's okay. So I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10. It's decent, but it's a downgrade from what they had last year. This is Southampton's shirt that they're wearing in their first season back in the Championship, and like their season last year in the Premier League, this kit pretty much sums up how they played last year. It's shite. It's like the people that were making the kits run out of material and went, oh, we'll just get some material from another shirt and put it on because we can't finish it. I know that they've worn this design, I think maybe 20, 30 years ago. It's sort of like a throwback to one of the retro kits, but I don't think it's a good looking kit at all. I think it's quite ugly. There are some fans that do like it. I don't understand why, but myself personally, I don't think it's a good shirt. I think this is probably one of the worst shirts on the list, in the entire list, to be fair. So, sorry Southampton fans, I'll have to give your shirt a 2 out of 10. I think it's horrid. Hopefully you can just go back to the traditional red and white stripes that you normally wear year in, year out next year. This is Stoke City shirt for this year. Now, Stoke City, they wear the same thing pretty much every year, red and white stripes. However, I mean, the front of the shirt looks great. Sponsor, everything's sound. When you look on the back of the shirt, if you don't get the player issue, the stripes don't go all the way up the back, and there's this big empty white canvas on the back, which looks kind of daft. And a few Stoke City fans I've seen online have commented on that. And I've got a picture of it, so that's what it looks like from the back. If you don't get a player number or a name on the back, that's what it looks like. It looks a bit daft to me, but going off from the front, I give it probably about an 8.5 out of 10. The back, probably about a 3 out of 10. This is Swansea City shirt for this year. With this one, not a fan of the sleeves. And I've never really been a fan of clubs, or whenever they do a shirt, they put the badge in the middle of the shirt. I like it on the left-hand side. The sponsor, Reviver Coffee, that's sound, but the rest of it, not a fan of it. Not really a fan of this kit. I think Swansea City can do better. I'd probably give this one about a 4 out of 10. Not a fan of it. And this is Sunderland's home shirt for this year. With the shirt, you can see that they've got the red and white stripes, but they only go up to sort of like near the neckline, and they stop. There's no red and white stripes on the sleeves this year, which it kind of looks a bit weird. And I wish there was a bit more black on the kit. I mean, besides that, it's not too bad. I'll give it about 7 out of 10. I think that last year's kit was a bit better, so a bit disappointing. This is Watford's shirt for this year. Now, Watford's a club that they change up their design quite a bit. They've had all different types of designs, especially in the last few years that I can remember. They're kind of a bit like Borussia Dortmund in a way. That they got the same kind of colour scheme, and they do some kits like this. This one, it's not too bad actually. I don't mind it. But the thing that really ruins it for me is a sponsor, Mr. Q. So you got a decent looking kit and you're walking around the street, but then you've got this big daft MrQ.com on the front. That's the thing that really lets down this shirt. And unfortunately these days sponsors ruin a lot of shirts, but I think it's a good shirt from Watford this year, so I give it probably about 7.5, 8 out of 10. And this is West Bromwich Albion's shirt for this year. Now, there's a lot of their fans online that said that they don't like the shirt, but I think it's okay. I mean, I'm not a West Bromwich Albion supporter, but I saw their kit from last year and I thought that this one is slightly better. They've kept the same sponsor, which they've had for quite a few years now, I think. For this one, I think it's decent. There's been a couple of West Bromwich Albion kits I've liked more in the past, but this one, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's decent. It's not too bad. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. Okay, so I've just rated all the kits there. For me personally, my favourite ones, number one by far is Plymouth Argyle. I also really like Bristol City shirt this year, and I like Coventry City, Queen's Park Rangers, Leeds United, and Preston with their traditional looking shirts, and also Sheffield Wednesdays. And obviously the worst ones for me, Southampton's is probably the worst. Swansea City and Birmingham City, that's the top three for me, the worst ones. But anyways, you let me know in the comment section below which kits you love and which kits you hate. This has been History of Football. Thanks for tuning in for my video. I'll be rating all the Premier League home shirts as well, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, I'll catch us all later in the next video. Tatty bye for now.